Percy the penguin lived in a land of crisp snow and sparkly ice, a world painted in endless shades of blue and white. And Percy loved to paint it all. He had a cozy little igloo studio tucked away behind a towering iceberg where tubes of cerulean, azure, navy, and snowy white paint lined the shelves. His canvases, made from smooth, flat pieces of iceberg, were always filled with the most magnificent scenes. Towering glaciers reflecting the sky, shimmering ice caves, or fluffy snowdrifts under a moonlit night. Percy was a master of the monochromatic. He could capture the fierce chill of a blizzard using only strokes of indigo and pearl, or the gentle shimmer of sunlight on frozen water with a dab of baby blue and pure white. He believed blue and white were the only true colors for a penguin. They were honest, cool, and perfectly reflected his home. Red was too fiery, yellow too loud, green too leafy. He shuddered at the thought of painting a tropical jungle. Why would anyone want to paint something that didn't match their own beautiful icy world? One blustery afternoon, Percy was meticulously dabbing a tiny white highlight onto a crashing wave, creating the perfect splash of foam. He hummed a happy tune, perfectly content in his blue and white bubble. His best friend, Polly, a bright-eyed puffin known for her sunny disposition and even sunnier beak, waddled up to his studio door, nearly tripping over a forgotten tube of cobalt. "Percy, there you are! I was just about to send out a search party," Polly chirped, her orange beak contrasting sharply with Percy's serene studio. "You won't believe the news! Pit the seal is hosting a grand painting party down at the Rainbow Reef. Everyone's invited." Percy slowly lowered his paintbrush, a drop of ocean blue hovering precariously. "A painting party? How delightful!" he said, trying to sound enthusiastic, but a tiny shiver, unrelated to the Antarctic chill, ran down his spine. "And what, pray tell, will we be painting?" "Everything, anything. The reef is bursting with color. Clownfish, coral, seaweed in every shade of green you can imagine," Polly exclaimed, flapping her small wings excitedly. "It's going to be the most colorful party ever. You have to come, Percy. Your art is just too good to keep hidden in here." Percy looked around his calm blue and white studio, then back at Polly's vibrant enthusiasm. A grand painting party? With all the colors of the rainbow? His beak twitched. This sounded like a very peculiar painting party indeed. The news of Pip's grand painting party spread faster than a snowball rolling downhill. Soon, all of Percy's friends were chattering about it. Flo the flamingo, with her naturally vibrant pink feathers, gracefully glided by, her long neck craning into Percy's studio. "Percy, darling, are you coming? I hear Pip has collected paints from every corner of the ocean. Imagine the sunset hues we could capture." Next, Barnaby the beluga whale, known for his booming voice and even bigger smile, popped his head through the entrance, splashing a little water on Percy's perfectly clean easel. "You gotta be there, Percy. I'm going to paint a self-portrait in neon green. Can you imagine?" Percy forced a thin smile. "Neon green, Barnaby? How daring!" He wiped a stray splash from his beak. His friend's excitement was contagious. but in a way that made his stomach feel a little queasy. He loved them, of course, but their artistic tastes were, shall we say, diverse. "It's going to be a blast!" Polly chirped, still buzzing around. "Pip has even set up individual painting stations by the coral. He says we can paint whatever our hearts desire." Percy paced his small studio, waddling past his beloved blues and whites. But what if my heart only desires blue and white? The reef is so loud, so many colors all at once. What if I make a mess? What if I accidentally use orange? The last word came out as a horrified whisper. Polly tilted her head. "Percy, art is about trying new things. It's about expressing yourself. And besides, it's just paint. If you make a mess, we'll just laugh and you can try again. It's a party, not a competition." Flo nodded. "Exactly. Don't you ever wonder what it would be like to paint a shimmering seaweed forest in emerald? Or a clownfish in its fiery stripes?" Percy hesitated. He had seen the vibrant reef during his fishing trips. The schools of yellow tangs, the purple sea anemones, the red lobsters scuttling across the seabed. They were beautiful, he admitted, in their own wild, untamed way. But painting them? That felt like stepping onto another planet. Barnaby nudged him gently. "Come on, Percy. We wouldn't want the best painter in the Antarctic to miss out on the biggest painting event of the year, would we?" Seeing his friends' expectant faces, Percy sighed. He knew they meant well. And a tiny part of him, a very small, very curious part hidden deep beneath his blue and white comfort zone, wondered, what would it be like? "All right," Percy finally said, squaring his shoulders. "I'll come, but I'm bringing my own blue and white paints, just in case." Polly cheered, Flo clapped her wings, and Barnaby let out a joyous, if slightly off-key, beluga song. Percy managed a small, hopeful smile. The party was tomorrow, and his blue and white world was about to get a lot more interesting. The next day, Percy waddled towards the Rainbow Reef, his art bag slung over his shoulder, feeling a mix of apprehension and a tiny spark of curiosity. The reef was indeed a riot of color, far more vibrant than he'd imagined. Schools of electric yellow fish darted through coral gardens of brilliant orange and vivid purple. Sea anemones swayed like multicolored dancers, and the water itself seemed to shimmer with 1,000 different hues. Pip the seal, wearing a jaunty painter's smock splattered with every color imaginable, greeted Percy with a flipper shake. "Percy, so glad you could make it. Pick any easel. We've got paints galore." Percy nervously surveyed the scene. Easels were set up along the sandy ocean floor, surrounded by buckets overflowing with tubes of paint. Fiery reds, sunny yellows, grassy greens, sparkling golds, and even glitter paints. Flo was already painting a magnificent, swirling sunset with bold strokes of crimson and tangerine. Barnaby, meanwhile, was giggling, trying to paint his reflection in bright chartreuse, accidentally getting more paint on his nose than the canvas. Percy found an empty easel near a combing patch of blue coral. He carefully pulled out his own trusty tubes of Arctic blue, glacier white, and deep ocean indigo. He squeezed a dollop of white onto his palette, then a generous swirl of blue. "Ah, perfection," he murmured, feeling a sense of calm. He decided to paint the blue coral, focusing on the subtle variations in its shade. It felt safe, familiar. But as he painted, he couldn't help but notice the explosion of color around him. A tiny, iridescent fish zipped past his canvas, its scales shimmering with all the colors he was avoiding. Polly flew over, her wings brushing his head. "Looking good, Percy, but don't forget to add a little something extra." She winked, pointing to a bucket of neon pink paint. Percy just shook his head. He tried to ignore the vibrant chaos, but it was surprisingly difficult. He dabbed another stroke of blue, but it felt flat, lifeless even. Compared to Flo's dazzling sunset or Barnaby's shockingly bright beluga, Percy's blue coral felt boring. He sighed. His blue and white world, which had always felt so complete, now felt strangely incomplete. He looked at the array of colors Pip had provided, a rainbow of tubes gleaming under the water. He reached out a flipper, almost touching a tube of sunny yellow. It felt warm. He quickly pulled his flipper back as if burned. What was happening to him? He was Percy, the master of blue and white. The great color conundrum. How could he create something beautiful when all the colors he knew felt dull, and all the colors he didn't know felt scary? Percy stared at his lonely blue and white coral painting, a stark contrast to the lively canvases around him. Polly, noticing his glum expression, zipped over. "Still sticking to just 2 colors, Percy? You'll miss out on all the fun. Here, try this." Before Percy could protest, Polly dipped her wing into a pot of shimmering gold paint and playfully dabbed a tiny speck onto Percy's canvas, right near the blue coral. Percy gasped, his eyes wide. "Polly, you've goldified my coral!" He tried to wipe it off with his flipper, but only succeeded in smudging the gold into a sparkly streak. Oh dear, oh dear. "Look closer, Percy," Polly chuckled. "It's like sunshine on the coral. See how it glows?" Percy peered at the smudge. To his surprise, the tiny fleck of gold wasn't ruining his blue at all. In fact, it made the blue seem brighter, more alive. A small, unfamiliar spark of curiosity flickered inside him. Just then, Barnaby, still covered in green paint, waddled by and accidentally bumped Percy's easel. Percy's brush, loaded with deep ocean indigo, flew through the air and landed with a plop right into a bucket of fiery red paint. When Percy retrieved it, the brush bristles were a surprising shade of deep, rich purple. "Oh, no! Now my brush is all wrong!" Percy exclaimed. Flo, ever graceful, glided over. "Wrong? Percy, look at it! It's beautiful! Red and blue make purple, you know. It's a happy accident. Why don't you try it?" Hesitantly, Percy dipped the purple-tinged brush onto his palette. He still had his blue coral, but now he thought, what if a mischievous purple-thinged fish was darting past it? With a deep breath, he added a tiny purple swirl to his canvas. It looked unexpected, but not bad. It added a playful twist to his serene blue world. Throughout the afternoon, similar accidents occurred, A yellow splash from Barnaby's flipper turned a blue patch into a soft green. A drip of orange paint from Flo's brush created a warm glow against his white snow. Each time, Percy initially panicked, but then, encouraged by his friends, he tried to incorporate the mistake. He found that these unexpected colors, far from ruining his painting, were actually adding depth, character, and a touch of whimsy. His blue and white world was still there, but now it was dancing with new possibilities. The great color conundrum was beginning to unravel, not with a grand solution, but with a series of tiny, colorful splatters and smudges. He was starting to see that new ideas weren't scary. They were exciting. As the sun began to dip below the horizon, painting the sky in colors even Percy hadn't dared to imagine, the painting party started to wind down. Artists packed up their brushes, proudly displaying their finished works. Percy, however, was still adding the final touches to his canvas. What had started as a simple blue coral had transformed into something extraordinary. His painting now depicted a vibrant underwater scene. The familiar blue coral still anchored the foreground, but now it was softly illuminated by the golden sunshine Polly had inadvertently dabbed. A mischievous purple-finned fish, born from his accidental purple brush, darted playfully through the blue. Above them, a school of joyful yellow fish, inspired by Barnaby's splash, swam through swirling currents of green, a color that Percy had once considered too leafy, but now found wonderfully organic. He stepped back, head cocked. It was still very much his painting, with the calm, serene blues and whites he loved. But now it hummed with life, a symphony of colors that made his heart sing. It wasn't messy, it was magnificent. Pip whistled, drawing everyone's attention. All right, artists, time to reveal our masterpieces. One by one, friends showed off their paintings. Flo's stunning sunset, Barnaby's hilarious neon green self-portrait, and many other vibrant creations. When it was Percy's turn, he felt a little flutter in his tummy, but this time it wasn't fear, it was excitement. He proudly displayed his canvas. A collective gasp went through the crowd. "Oh, Percy!" Polly squeaked, her eyes wide. It's breathtaking." "The blue is still so elegant," Flo admired. "But those unexpected flashes of color, they make it truly special." Barnaby beamed. "You really let your imagination swim, Percy. It's your best work yet." Percy preened, a genuine, joyful smile spreading across his beak. He looked at his painting, seeing it through new eyes. It wasn't just beautiful. It was a testament to his courage. He had stepped outside his comfort zone, faced his fear of wrong colors, and embraced new ideas. He learned that combining different elements, even those that seemed strange at first, could lead to something far richer and more wonderful than he could have ever created alone. From that day on, Percy the Penguin still loved his blues and whites, but his art studio now held a full rainbow of paints. He still painted majestic icebergs, but sometimes they sparkled with a hint of gold or shimmered with a touch of purple. Percy had discovered at the most beautiful creations in art and in life are often a masterpiece of many hues, born from embracing all the colors of the world.